Hi folks, and welcome to another video from Master of Marine. And this week I've added fish. So tank's been up and running now for 3 weeks cycling. Finally made the decision to put some fish in. So what have we gone for? We've gone for 2 classic clowns, a Bengal cardinal fish, 2 chromis, a watchman goby and a pistol shrimp, and a purple fish, which for the life of me I can't remember what that is at the minute, but I'll find out what that is and make sure I include it on the next video. But kind of tank's doing really well, so up and running for 3 weeks. Chemistry has remained pretty stable really, in fact probably too stable considering the tank's meant to be cycling. So cycled the tank with Dr. Tim's one and only, and put a couple of fish in straight away. Was expecting to see an ammonia spike, a nitrate spike and a nitrite spike in between. Kind of what I actually saw was a tiny bit of ammonia, a little bit of nitrite, and for the last 2 and a bit weeks I've seen a very low level but stable amount of nitrate. So it's kind of sat at 2 milligrams per litre and hasn't moved at all. I'm feeding the tank quite heavily just to make sure the tank's completely cycled, and the nitrate's not moved at all really. Now there might be a good explanation for that when I show you what I've got in the sump underneath, but yeah, everyone's doing well. Fish are all getting on fine. Some really good colours and movement to the tank. I've just fed them, as you can see, so they're all fairly active at the moment, but loving how this tank looks at the minute. The lights, I've put the light on just for the purposes of this video, but until I add coral I'm leaving the light off, just making sure that the tank's fully cycled and giving all the bacteria time to build up on the rock and the sand, so it doesn't have to compete with any algae, so light will soon be going off. So quick overview of what I've got on the tank up and running at the moment. So lighting wise, I've got the Maxback Razor light. I'm really impressed with that. It looks great, it's nice and thin. I'll probably hang it at some point, but at the moment the stands are doing just fine. In terms of flow within the tank, I've got 2 wave makers from TMC Reef Tides. I'm really impressed with these actually. They were a fairly cheap option, but they're quiet, they don't stick out too much, and they seem to be doing the job, so really impressed with those. Aquascape, I've gone fairly minimalistic. Hopefully there's enough space there for corals, but I really wanted it to be a fairly minimalistic look. I have got a concern that have I got enough media in there to help with the biofiltration, but hopefully I've made up with that in the sump. So what have we got in the sump? So I need to get a light for this sump so you can see better, but as water drains down it all goes through the Clarity roller mat. I've been really impressed with this roller mat. Currently I've got the gate valve completely closed, so all the water's going through the roller mat itself. I'm not using much of the roller at all. It's been running now for 3 weeks and it's hardly used any of it. I know it's a new tank and the water's still fairly clean, but I am feeding it quite heavily just to try and see if I get any fluctuations in nutrient levels really. I've crammed quite a bit of media into the sump, so there's the max spec bio balls at the bottom and 2 boxes of those, and then I've got some other media as well, just because I was concerned with the lack of rocks in the main display really, and then a bag of carbon just to move any odours if they materialise. Skimmer wise, I've got the Nios Quantum Skimmer. I can't really comment on this really because it's skimming nothing out. There's nothing to skim at the minute. I mean that's been running now for 3 and a bit weeks, and I changed the cup and it's clear water in there, right? So just no nutrients to pull out, but it looks great. It's quiet, so far I'm pleased, but we'll see how good it is when there's actually things to skim out of it. And then I've got the TMC return pump, which is doing a good job. I bought 2 of those as a spare in the garage just in case I have any problems with that. And then I've got the Tunzi auto top off. Again, super impressed with that. It's a good quality auto top off pump and it's doing the job. Salinities remain stable, DKH has remained stable. So far really good, and I just want to make sure the tank's properly cycled and stable before I add any corals. It's worth just showing you. To keep all the electricals out of the sump, I've attached all the controllers and displays on the side here. Really impressed with the Aquamedic temperature controller. It does a great job at keeping temperature stable. And then all the cables, I built this little box at the side. They sell these in IKEA for 20 quid, so really cheap. and in there I've got my battery backup, and on that I've got one of the wave makers and the return pump, and then all the other leads for everything else. So really impressed with that. I'm probably going to build a refugium and put a tank up here. I'll just have to make sure I have a drip tray, so if there's any leaks or condensation on the tank, it doesn't work its way into the power sockets. But yeah, no, so that's the tank. Super happy that I've got fish in there. All the fish are doing well. I think I've got a real mix of bright colours and movement, and yeah, really looking forward to being able to add corals to it soon. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you've subscribed to see, and there's the top off. Make sure you've subscribed to see how we get on with adding our first corals, and I'll keep you updated. Hopefully we can avoid most of the ugly stage, and clean up crew will be going in very soon. So yeah, take care, and hope you enjoyed the video. Ta-ra.